Hello and welcome to FX Addicts Weekly Market Analysis. This is Tim, the Currency Professor, and today is Friday, April 12th, 2013. What a week it's been. Well, we've had some pretty good action in a few things. First, I want to run through some economic stuff. Today, we had a couple of things out that were to note of. Industrial production for Europe came in at 0.4%. Expectations were for 0.3. Last month was down 0.6. So even though this month looked good and was better than expected, overall industrial production for all of Europe has not been that great over the last 6 to 8 months. So it's a good sign that it's up, but we need to see several more months of that. Also, we got ECOFIN meetings today and tomorrow. Now, there's a lot of rumors flying around out there. People are saying things before the meetings are over with. So that could have a fairly strong impact on Monday's opening for most of the currencies, especially the euro. So we're going to need to pay attention to that, what happens over the weekend, what announcements come out Saturday after the meeting, Sunday morning, what people talk about, that kind of thing. So that's a concern. In the U.S. today, we had the PPI out, Producer Price Index, and retail sales. Retail sales surprised by dropping quite a bit, down 0.4% for both core and the full amount. Expectations were for for the core rate to drop 0.1% and for the full number to be unchanged. Last month was up 1% for both, so really not that bad. Over the last 6 months, retail sales have been up about 1.8%. Over the last year, about 3%, a little over 3%. So it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Next week, a couple of things to point out. On Monday is all of the Chinese data, the GDP especially. People are going to be watching that, as well as industrial production there. So we're going to want to see what those numbers come out at. Expectations for GDP are 8%. If it comes out much below that, then that could be detrimental to like the Australian dollar and really to quite a few other currencies also, that Japanese yen and several other things. So we're going to need to watch that. In the U.S. on Monday is the Empire State Manufacturing Index. Expectations are for 7.5. Sometimes this moves the market, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the mood of the market. Sometimes it really surprises and moves the market, which is different. Tuesday we have all the inflation numbers out of the UK, so that's going to be a concern, especially for the pound being extended up as it has over the last couple of weeks. And then on Tuesday also we have the zoo economic sentiment for both Germany and all of Europe. Those will sometimes move the markets. In the U.S., we have building permits and housing starts. Those have been very important of late and can move the dollar quite easily. Also capacity utilization and industrial production on Tuesday. So Tuesday's the big day for next week. The rest of the week, fairly small amount of data expected. At the end of next week, on Friday and Saturday, is IMF and G20 meetings. So we'll have to watch for those next week, and as we get closer to that, we can talk about that really next Friday. So let's look at some technicals here. And what I have up first here is, and I usually don't cover these things, but they do influence currencies very much. So certainly do want to look at it, and that is gold and oil. This is U.S. denominated crude oil, West Texas Intermediate crude. Right now it's trading around 91. It dropped off quite a bit today. And what I really want to do is kind of pop through. That's the daily. This is the weekly, and we can see here how these. And pardon my drawing, but we can kind of come to a point here at which point we could sell off very easily and out of that to the downside. Now here's where it really looks nasty, is on the monthlies, and we can see how we ran up. This is back here in 2007, 2008. 147 was the high. Then we dropped immediately down within 6 months, 8 months, all the way down to 34. And then we worked our way back up here to around 100, and we've been up around this area now for the last 4 years, 3-4 years. But again, we're forming this triangle-shaped thing here. really does not look good. It's running out of steam. A lot of the buyers are stepping away. Very, very overbought market. Now, if we break out of this and we start selling off, really we could get all the way down to that 33 level, and maybe even lower than that. There's a very, very good possibility of that. That would be very heart-crushing, though, for the new industry that's really started here in the U.S. with the fracking. So there could be a problem. Now, this is UK oil, which has become, or Brent has become the new world leader, and this is what everybody else watches. So if we can kind of stretch this out to the weeklies, we can see also how we're kind of flatlined. We're more or less in the same range that we've been in for the last 3 years now, almost 3 years. So very, very quiet there. And on the monthlies, if we look at the monthlies, well, we have a very similar type of pattern. We do have a kind of a triangular shaped thing forming up here as well. The big difference is, and it's kind of hard to judge the pricing structures because of dollars and the Brent being put into several different denominations, but always being traded in dollars. So we can kind of compare apples to apples here a little bit in the sense that U.S. West Texas and Brent North Sea crude, the differences in the pricing is kind of an indicator, that spread. Right now we're at about $11 difference. Every time that we've gotten to between $10 and $12 in the last 6-7 years, we've seen the market sell off. So there is a very, very good possibility that now we're seeing that again, and we could sell off again. So this spread has gone up and down over the years, and we've been as high as almost $20, and it's been running around 15, 16, 14, somewhere in there for the last few months, and now we have dropped to that 10 to 12 range. So very, very unusual in the sense that it hasn't been doing it lately, but when it has, it does fall off. So that's something we should look at. And also gold today selling off considerably and breaking some major support. If we look at the weeklies here, we can see how we've broken down now, and we're going to close down here, it really looks like, broken down below some fairly major support. And here's the real kicker up here on the monthlies. Looks absolutely nasty. The more that we kind of analyzed that monthly, we ran all the way up, we made highs, we came down, we tested the highs, we failed. Now we're coming back down, we're closing down below the most recent support levels, so really doesn't look good. We probably jumped down to about this 1,000 to 1,200 range, bounce a little bit, then fall again, get down to about 700, and then trade between 700 and 900 for quite a while. That's the way it looks at this point. Now, the reason I bring this up is because everything here trades in dollars. Gold and oil are very, very much traded in dollars. This may be an indication that the dollar is about to turn around and go higher. So really important from that standpoint, and I really like to watch these things, and I only bring them up when I see something very significant. So this is significant, and it certainly will have a future determination on currencies, especially the dollar. So let's take a look at everything else. Euro against the US dollar today, down about 14 pips, just under 131, hanging out now. We've got this nice kind of U-shaped pattern in here. We should consolidate now for probably about another 3 or 4 weeks here, and then possibly move on up. However, we look on the weeklies, and we can see that our limit to the upside could be just to this trend line, which should happen, getting us up close to these highs before that we have not yet tested. So if we were to get up there, test those highs somewhere around this trend line, and then fall back, that would probably end it. And on the monthlies, well, on the monthlies, if we actually close this month above last month, that's fairly bullish, and that should take us up to around the 142 to 144 area, the upper end of this channel. Now, there's a lot of fundamental things out there, and it's not really good for Europe. So it looks like the Cyprus thing is unraveling a little bit, and we got these ECOFIN meetings going on right now where they're talking about Ireland and Portugal's debt. So there's still a lot of problems there, and I don't want to hang too much on technicals or fundamentals at this point. I'm really staying away from this pair very much because it's very unclear. Now, if the dollar all of a sudden gets stronger and looks like the U.S. economy is going to take off, then by all means the dollar is the way to go, and to sell the euro. But in the short term here, it's very indecisive. Now the pound dollar, very similar kind of situation here. It's become very indecisive. Technically, we've gotten above this channel, and we're trading what looks like to be on a momentum side much higher. So it looks like we could rally all the way up to this 155 to maybe 157 area, just on the excitement that there is. Why the excitement is there, I'm not really sure, because they're in the UK is certainly in some dire economic straits, certainly a lot worse than the US. But for right now, the perception is US is not good, and everybody's more or less dollar bashing. And that's okay to a point. At some stage, though, that does turn around, and that's why I brought up the gold and the oil also. There is a possibility that this is starting to shift. So here we are on the weeklies, and we can see here how we had a sharp sell-off, and now over the last about month and a half, we've been working our way higher, but it's grinding higher. So it's not really having a lot of momentum higher. It's kind of indecisive profit taking is more so than anything else. And same on the monthlies. For us to really turn this market around and go higher, we would need to close this month above this trend line and really above February's highs, which would put us up around 160. Don't see that happening. I really don't. But you never know. That's what's the excitement about these markets. So we'll wait and see. But technically, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. U.S. dollar against the Swiss franc. You can see here in the stochastics flatlining against the bottom. We're just very, very weak. The dollar just very, very weak against the Swissy. We're down about 13 pips today, and we've just been leaking lower and lower and lower here. We're right now hitting some minor support area, and then we have some other supports down in here, down around the just about 92 area, 91.50, down into that range. So we could see one sharp sell-off maybe down into there, and then a pop right back. On the weeklies, we're still above this longer term somewhat trend line, and you can see on the weeklies here we're still more or less moving out in time with a slight downward bias. So that's nothing more than a correction after this upward move. Now on the monthlies, we can see a little better here. We're a little bit below last month's lows, which is not a good sign. In addition to that, this month we should have been breaking quite a bit higher. We should have been up around this trend line, up around 97, and we're not. So that's not a good sign either. Really disappointed in the way the action's been here with the dollar against the Swiss. Dollar yen, very strong. We're down 72 today right now, but very nice move. Of course, the Bank of Japan last week making their announcements and doing their little dance that is strengthening everything against the yen, weakening the yen. And really don't see any change here. A little bit of consolidation right now as some profit takings going on, and we'll probably see another push next week, getting us well above that 100 mark. Technically, up around 101, 102 is some resistance levels, but they're very minor. We don't get major resistance levels until we get all the way up around the 110 area, which is just about right up in here. If we can draw a line here, right up about in there. That is where we should see some continued resistance, and then of course right here, which is around that 101, 102 area. So we get up in there. Once we crack that 102 area, it's going to run all the way up to the 108, 110 area, and we'll probably find some sort of a correction at that point. and consolidation. Eventually, I think we're going to that 125 level, as I've called out on my stats here for the last year or so. So ultimately, that's where we'll run. Euro Swiss backing off a little today. 121.60s area, 121.65, down about 35 pips today. Now you can see here I've drawn in some lines, and these are all equal angled so that we can see how this market, this price action is following this angle, and it really is pretty much on several steps here. So at some point here we're going to bottom out, and then we're going to jump up above this next little trend line, and we'll rock it up again. Now longer term, we look at the weeklies, we can see how this flat line for so long, we've come down to that same area now, and at some point we're going to jump up, and really expect that to happen probably here soon, not to go on too long, but probably it'll do it very quickly. It'll go up several hundred points in a week or two, and that'll be the big move, and then we'll probably jump past that 125 resistance level we've been at twice. Euro yen down about 100 pips, back down under 130. We did pass 130 this week, which was a very, very strong market. Consolidating a little bit. As long as the euro stays strong, this market will continue to run. On the weeklies, we can see how we could really run up to that 138 level very, very easily. We're in this consolidation area now, and we should trade with some pretty good vigor all the way up to that 138 area, and then back off from there. And we can see that also on the monthlies here. So this month would not be surprising to see us jump all the way up to that 138 and then consolidate from there for several months. So it all depends again on the strength of the euro. If the euro falls off as the yen is falling off, then this could find some very difficult times here of going anywhere, and we could end up consolidating here at this area for a long time. So that is it. A little long-winded this week. I do apologize for that, but I wanted to get that in about the gold and the oil and the relationship it has with the dollar and the potential that it could have for future moves with pretty much anything against the dollar. So please enjoy your week. I hope you had a good week this week. Please stop by FX Addicts if you haven't already. Become a member if you're not. And also, if you have any questions or anything for me, please let me know. Also, on a further note, next week we do have the Forex scalping class. So if anyone is interested, please sign up for that. We do have a couple of spots available. So feel free to sign up for that as well. Thank you.